Congratulations, you have made the courageous decision to be homeschooling your children. And now you're talking to your friends and you're doing all this research online and you're starting to feel like a little overwhelmed. Why? Because you have entered the world of homeschool curriculum. Hi, and welcome to Learning Life. Thank you so much for joining me today. Oh, it is so great to have you here. And I just thank you for the time that you take in watching these videos and shooting me some comments. Thank you so much for that. And please keep doing it. I love to hear from you. And don't forget to subscribe so you know when the next video comes out. Homeschool curriculum. You know, there are so many great resources out there. There really are. It can often feel like a little daunting, a little overwhelming in just the amount of choices. Everything from free to minimal cost to complete packages. And you have to stop and go, oh, but what is right for me? Like, I want to homeschool my children, but now I need to pick the right curriculum. Now, I do homeschool my girls, there's so many reasons for that, but I'm also very much a pick and choose sort of girl when it comes to curriculum. I don't just stick with one thing. I am very focused on teaching the skills that my girls need, and from that content can follow rather than being more of a content-driven curriculum. Now, homeschooling has been on the rise, really over these past years, especially even without a pandemic, you know, as more and more families are looking at the flexibility and the options for their children of pulling them out of a school setting and bringing them home to be teaching them. You see, there is really no one size fits all, honestly. Like for families, you know, not every child learns the same. Even within a family, you could have two children that just learn so differently. A curriculum might work for one and not the others. And so I know that it can be really overwhelming when it comes to look at homeschool curriculum. You know, if you're not a teacher and you haven't had that sort of background and you're sort of coming into it, what is right for your family? Now, this is something that I love to do. I love to help families work out what is a good curriculum for them and what is going to work best, and looking at the learning styles of their children and being like, hey, have you thought about this one? You know, there are so many out there and I love researching them and I love finding out about new ones and what we could be using. There's also, when you look at it, there's a vast majority really of good, solid Christian curriculum versus what we call, you know, the secular, just the normal, you know, without a Christian or faith-based bent to it. And that's really largely because the homeschool community for many years was being driven by the Christian community. But we are seeing more and more curriculum coming without a faith-based bent to it. And so, you know, it can be so hard to work out like what is right and what do I want and which math and oh my goodness, all of these different things. So in this vlog and in some others coming up, I want to look at some of the homeschool curriculum that is out there to look at the pros and the cons and just to sort of give you an idea of what is there. Now, for this one today, I want to talk about the Abeka curriculum. Now, it has been around for a long time. It has been refined over a 50-year process through a school, a Christian academy down in Pensacola. So they've had a lot of years of working on it. Now, I'm going to draw from my own experiences of having used Abeka curriculum within a classroom or working with families that have been homeschooling their children using this curriculum, and also in talking to my friends and students who have used or are using this curriculum. So this curriculum might be great for some families and it might not be great for others. And that is totally okay because you have to do what is best for you. So this curriculum, you can purchase as a complete package. You know, you can do all these different things. It's individual, complete grade levels. There are some really good things about it. So let's look at the pros. There are flexible options with Abeka. It is a complete package. You can get every subject and everything that you need for an entire school year in a complete grade level. But you can also pick and choose because, you know, like maybe you only want some components of it, or maybe, you know, your child is more advanced in math, but is a little bit lower in another area. So you can make it work. What's best for your child. You don't have to be stuck to one grade level, but it does go through all the grades from kindergarten all the way through to year 12, which is excellent. It is great for families who want an all-in-one curriculum. There are some that just I want to get it and I want to be able to sit and teach it and let my children have that experience. You know what? That is great. You are going to get a good, solid curriculum that is going to take you through the entire school year, all the subjects, all that you need. And for many families, that is important. So that is definitely a pro. It is strong on academics. Content driven, very strong on getting good college prep, especially in the upper grades. And for a lot of people, that is very important to have that strong academic push. It is organized and structured. Though you might feel a little overwhelmed when you get it and you see all the books and you've sort of got to put it together. Take the time to organize for what works for you, but it is well organized. It is well structured. The lesson plans are going to guide you through the day. So even if you've never been in a classroom before, you can pick it up and you can teach it. You can run with it. You can make sure that you are getting done what you need to get done because of how well it is set out. It is drawing from a variety of sources. It uses textbooks, it uses workbooks and worksheets, it's got videos, you can do it online. So it is drawing from a variety of sources. It is not just sort of one thing. Though a lot of people do still, in this digital age, like to use textbooks and workbooks. I know for me that I actually prefer that for a number of students. It just makes it easier for them than being on the computer all the time. It has a strong conservative biblical foundation. And for some families, that is very important. And that is to know about Abeka, that's where it comes in with this biblical foundation, a conservative biblical foundation. So for many families, this is what they want, and you will definitely get that with Abeka. It is less expensive than a private school. You still have a considerable sort of input in what you are purchasing, but it is something that you can resell, or if you have multiple children that will go through, you're going to recoup that money. But they've definitely said, yes, it's a lot less expensive than a private school, and that is true. It is accredited. And if you choose to do the Abeka Academy, which is the online school using all of their curriculum, but there's teachers and all the assignments and everything are turned in, then it is accredited. And that is important to a number of families that their children would go to an accredited sort of homeschool sort of situation. And if that's important to you, then yes, they have Abeka Academy, which is accredited. Now, what are the cons of it? I'm going to try to keep some of my opinions sort of out of it because I know that I can have very strong opinions on things, but I'm always happy to talk one-on-one about it. So there's too much work for the day or too much seat work. For many families, they pick homeschooling so that they have flexibility and that their children aren't bound to a desk all day. Yes, the Abeka curriculum has a lot of work to be done each day, and you're not going to be able to get it done in 4.5 hours. It will take you all day. There is a lot of seat work, a lot of classwork, a lot of reading, and the assignments that go with it. There are a lot of quizzes and tests. As you go through this, as a way to assess and gauge what is being learnt, there's all these quizzes and these tests. Now, yes, you can skip them. Guess what? You can. When you homeschool, you can do these things. But for some people, just seeing that amount of testing is enough to turn them off. Also, their grading expectations are very strict, especially if you're doing it online. You had better word it exactly as they expect it, or it's not going to grade correctly. And I know for some older students that this was really frustrating for them to come back and being told that they were wrong just because they used a word in a different way. The material can be very repetitive. I know they talk about it being a spiral, like it'll come back to it. But sometimes really, nope. We just need to have moved on from that. We didn't need to come back to that particular aspect. And so if you have a child that struggles with things that's just being too repetitive, then it's going to be a source of frustration. The videos are getting outdated. Yes, we're going through a system, and we update, and, when we've had something that's been really good, we tend to stick with it. But that can be a con. Really not enough critical thinking and not enough scientific thinking is what people and friends have sort of been concerned about. Now, I love critical thinking and I love exploring that with children and really getting them thinking. This is a good, solid, content-driven course. So there is not so much room for that scientific and critical thinking. And if it's important to you, then this is worthwhile knowing. Now, the total package can be expensive compared to other curriculum, especially when there is a lot available online for free, or, there's just other packages that are out there, especially if you are a pick and chooser, it can end up being a lot more expensive. And teaching at home, of course, is not going to be accredited. But then that's the same with all sort of homeschools, that if you were doing just a curriculum at home, it's not accredited. And if you want accredited information, like for your children, for college transcripts or whatever, then you would need to do an online academy. So that is Abeka, a good, solid, well thought through curriculum, a complete package that is there, that has been around for many, many years. And so they have been growing and they have been developing as they go along, making changes as they need to. Maybe some of them not as quickly as some families would like, but that's okay. This is why we have so many choices. So there are good things about Abeka and there are things that people don't like. You know what? Guess what? If there are things that you don't like, you don't have to actually use it. There are some parts of Abeka that I really do like, and there are some that, hit or miss with me, and, I don't have to take it. It's probably not a curriculum that I would use incomplete for my children, just in knowing their learning style and just in knowing how I like to teach and the freedom and the flexibility that we have. Now, if you have questions about curriculum or you'd like to talk it through, please reach out to me. You can message me through LearningThis.Life. I would love to be able to help you. That's what I love to do in parent coaching, especially, helping with homeschool resources, because I know that it can be daunting and overwhelming. There are just so many choices out there. So reach out. I would love to help you. And look out for coming videos where I talk about some of the other curriculum that is also out there that might be a possibility for you. And if you like watching these videos and would like to be part of our community and to see this grow and develop, this Learning Life community, you can join us as a champion through Patreon, and you can check that out at patreon.com or LearningThis.Life.